I purposefully ruined my cousin and ex's wedding and it's brought me a lot of happiness. I once looked up to my cousin. I thought he was a great guy, and we were close like brothers. I was also dating a girl, I was deeply in love with her and planned to marry her someday. I thought my life was perfect. One day I came home early because a colleague offered to cover my shift. I was pretty tired so I accepted and went home. Arriving home, I found them in my bed, having sex. Both of them were shocked to say the least. I told them I wanted them to be gone by the time I got back and left the house. They were gone by the time I did get back, but she left me a note telling me she was sorry and to call her when I'd calmed down. I didn't call her. I texted her saying that I'd gather her things and drop them off at cousin's in a few days and that she's staying with him now, not me. I followed through with that. It took about a week to transfer everything. Both of them tried to apologize but I didn't have anything nice to say to them so I said nothing. I just knocked the door and handed the bags to whoever answered before leaving. My cousin called me multiple times to try to apologize but I refused to accept it. 3 years have passed since then. I went no contact with them. I didn't bring it up to the rest of my family or any of their friends, I'm not sure why. I just didn't. I got a call from a number I didn't recognize so I answered. It was my cousin. He sounded really happy and was acting like he hadn't destroyed my life. He explained he and my ex were getting married and he wanted me to be his best man. I was so angry that he had the utter gall to act like nothing was wrong and lost my temper. I yelled at him and called him names before hanging up. He sent me a text telling me the offer still stood and if I didn't want to be his best man then he just simply wouldn't have one. A few days passed by and I had an idea. I texted him back and apologized. I said a paragraph of bullshit saying I was still angry but this could be an opportunity for the three of us to heal and move past it. He was overjoyed and said he'd pay for everything and he'd help me pick out a suit if I wanted, which I accepted because I sure as shit wasn't going to spend any money on his stupid wedding if I could help it. Purposefully ruined my cousin and ex's wedding and it's brought me a lot of happiness. The wedding day came. I had spent the week prior writing a speech, putting all the negative feelings that had bottled up over the years into words on paper. The wedding was pretty good. I'm sure one of them has some nice well-paying job or something because they must have spent a decent bit of money on this wedding from how nice it was. Our entire family was there, as was a decent chunk of my ex's family. Eventually the time for my speech came. I just remember feeling really nervous as it built up to it and my voice kept faltering when I was reading it out, but I didn't and still don't care, at least I got it out. I explained what these two horrible people had done to me. I called them the worst names I could think of and wished them the worst. Then I left. I was expecting some kind of dramatic moment from all the guests, gasps of shock and all that but there was none of that. Everyone was silent. On my way home I got a call from my mother angrily telling me that I'd ruined the wedding and both of them were so upset and she asked me why I'd do this. I told her that they deserved it for what they'd done to me and everything I'd said in the speech was true. She kept defending them so I swore at her and hung up. Since then I've gotten several calls and texts from others in mine and my ex's family angry I ruined the wedding. I've also received a few texts from people who were there being supportive and telling me they were there if I needed to talk. I'm not sure if I feel better having done this, but it did bring me great catharsis when people were telling me the wedding was ruined. At least now they've felt at the very least a fraction of what they've made me feel. No, my stepmother is attracted to my husband, and I laughed with my father about it when he confronted her, and I've never been happier. My stepmom has always made herself the center of attention since she entered our lives when I was 12. When I grew boobs and felt insecure about myself she assured me I'd never have to worry like she did because my chest would never be as big as hers. For context she's HH cup. At her and my father's wedding she made sure that no one else was allowed to look pretty, even going as far as forbidding us from wearing any makeup besides eyebrows and chapstick while she wore a full face and got her hair done up while we were all forced to wear slicked back low ponytails. I never liked her, and even more so now. She's calmed down over the years, but there have been moments that just make me glad she's not related to me by blood. When I met my husband and started bringing him around she turned into a completely different person. She used to wear cardigans and big sweaters all the time, because my dad and her had a weird it's only for your father to see type of thing going. Whatever, not my marriage, not my problem. But when I brought him around she started wearing deep V-neck shirts, tank tops, tube tops, whatever she could to show the girls off. I remember one night after dinner with them my husband looked at me and laughed and said, "God, those things are gross. They're like veiny balloons." I knew she was doing it for his attention, because if he wasn't around she'd dress like she used to, but if she knew he was coming she'd make sure they were on full display. She even started trying to compete with me and want to set him up with one of her friends, but she'd always write these things off as jokes. It was always, I was a cheerleader, Op was always so mousy and boring in school. How'd someone so outgoing get stuck with someone so introverted like Op? Or I can always set you up with one of my friends, you seem like you enjoy mature women. My dad even started calling her out and telling her to get a grip. No, my stepmother is attracted to my husband, and I laughed with my father about it when he confronted her, and I've never been happier. Last 4th of July, my stepmom really brought out all the stops. She wore a stringy bikini to our family barbecue and just kept trying to knock me down a peg. My dad and I were fed up when she said she'd find my husband a better wife as a joke. My dad unleashed onto her, asking her what qualifications she had when she was a shitty housewife and couldn't even cook oatmeal. He said she's not even fulfilling her wifely duties in bed and that they've been dead in the sheets for months because she can only get wet for a man who's got no interest in her. She cried for days and threatened to leave him, and he welcomed her to do so, but I think deep down she knew she didn't have much to offer, so she stayed. Their marriage was rocky after that, and even now. They're still together because my dad likes to keep up appearances and my stepmom doesn't work, has no education past a high school diploma, AMD, likes the cushy lifestyle my dad provides. But when me and my father talk about her, we laugh. Even now she still tries to subtly get at my husband, and he laughs at her too. He shows me her texts telling him how cruel my father is to her and how she wishes she had a man like him. Honestly, since that day my life has never been better. I get to laugh at the woman who turned me into a joke for years. It's even brought me and my father closer. If I can be honest, I hope they never divorce, so I can laugh at her till her last breath. I don't tell anyone, and I oftentimes pretend to be sympathetic in front of others about her, but when it's just the three of us, we laugh our asses off at her. Autistic person stole my name. I don't know if I can show my anger. I have a very unique name. For the sake of privacy, we're just gonna call me Doe. My name was handpicked by my father. I've been bullied for it, praised for it, and overall it is the most empowering thing I own. People have told me they'd name their children after my name, which I am completely fine with. But what I'm not fine with is a situation that has happened in the past year. In a club I'm in, there is an autistic individual. I have nothing against the disability, as I have ADHD myself and know the difficulties of understanding social cues. I find that autistic people are actually really smart and can be very fun to be around. The same can go for this person. They recently came out as non-binary, which I also completely support. But their name change set me off completely. They named themselves Doe, after my name. I was shocked. This person has known me for a year before they came out or changed their name. I've never met another person named Doe, let alone someone whose dead name was a part of my last name, making them angry when the club leader would start calling me by it to set confusion apart. I tried going by my middle name, but that didn't work out well since I am a junior in my club and people are already well acquainted with calling me Doe. We've tried saying Doe, last initial, but that also doesn't seem to work because the other Doe knows my last name has their dead name in it. Autistic person stole my name. I don't know if I can show my anger. When I asked them what decided to name themselves, that they said it's pretty. Which made me boil inside. I know my name is pretty. My father named me Doe for a reason. My name is poetic and represents my personality. It has a much more symbolic meaning than just being pretty. I'm angry. I've tried to cooperate and work around their disability with my alternative names. But both have ended up in people saying I'm making fun of them for using my last name, or people saying my middle name doesn't suit me. There's nothing I can do, and I don't know if it's right for me to be mad at them. It honestly feels like someone taking something you were born with and taking it away from you after you. I don't own the name. If I just met this person right now for the first time and they go by Doe, I'd say that's such a coincidence. But since this person has known me for over a year before deciding to go by Doe, that's weird. Do I have the right to be mad?